Hey everyone, this is Mike at Sweet Briar Farm. This video I'm going to talk about why I plant winter rye or cereal rye as a cover crop, and I use it as part of my micro grazing for our cattle and actually our pigs as well. So I planted this crop of winter rye last fall, and we were kind of dry last fall, so the cows didn't really get to benefit from foraging that much on it. But I plant this as a cover crop to reduce erosion, and rye is really good at scavenging nutrients that are left over in the field from the previous year. Rye has quite a few properties that are beneficial for the northern climate here in Michigan. We call it the king of the north because it actually can germinate in temperatures as low as the low to mid 40s and then grow and then survive over winter. And it has a really high nutritional value for the cattle. Protein content can be as high as 18%. One of the problems that it can have is it's kind of a good and bad thing. The potassium uptake from rye is really high and can have as much as 2 to 3% potassium in the actual plant itself. So that can be a problem for cows that are getting ready to calve, lead to milk fever if they consume too much of that potassium. So I plant this for the benefit of the cows and then for the land as well. It is the end of April. We had some really warm temperatures, almost record warmth in the 80s the past week, and now we're back down to about 50 today, and over the weekend it's supposed to be about 40. But this stuff is a good 12 inches tall right now and nice and green. It's kind of sporadic in this field. I had some corn that I had planted, and I just kind of broadcast seeded it over in the corn while the corn was still standing. So there's a few spots that it didn't really do so well. But I have a group of pigs over there that I'm feeding out of the trailer because they're going to the butcher next week. So I have them just kind of fenced off in that area there where they are tearing up the ground, and I'm leaving them there to really go through the ground. And what I found is the longer you leave the pigs in an area, the less weeds you will actually have in that area. Their stomachs are acidic like ours and will digest the weed seeds. I will have much less weed competition there when I put my crops in. I'm actually going to, once the pigs leave, plow that in, till it in good, and then actually plant potatoes there this year. The neighbor's field there, and I wish I would have filmed this a couple weeks ago because this stuff starts greening up and growing much faster than a hay field will. So that's got a lot of grasses, clover, and alfalfa, and it's not nearly as tall as my rye crop is right now. So after I move these pigs out next week, the cows will be in here and they will be grazing for about a month. I'll have them out here in addition to them consuming the hay that I feed them. But it's a part of the micro grazing that I do here on our small farm. Prevents erosion. This field is heavy clay up here at the top, where over the years all the topsoil is basically run down into the lower areas. So down in this bottom here, it's probably a good 1 foot deep of nice organic soil, and up here it's very much clay, a little bit of topsoil. I've been doing this for quite a few years and trying to build some of the organic matter back, but building organic matter in soil is a long-term process. I have a couple giant piles of manure that I'll be putting on before I do plow this in and plant my crops this year. But we've had some nice rains here, some good moisture in the soil, so this is doing really well this year. Last year we were really dry in the spring, so it didn't take off. 2 years ago we had a nice early wet spring, and I had rye that was about knee high when I put the cows out here, and we only had a few cows at that time. So if you're doing this on a small scale like we are, I recommend putting cover crops in the fall. You can put radishes and turnips as well. Oats, wheat are also good cover crops, help prevent the erosion. But the rye by far does really well, greens up really quick, and gives the cattle some early grazing opportunities. The rye does really well at outcompeting weeds. So where I do have the rye planted, you can see like here, there are some little weed sprouts coming up. This is lamb's quarter weed sprouts. But in where the rye is planted, there's very few. And the taller this gets, it shades out those weed seeds and actually secretes a compound into the soil that actually prevents weeds from growing. So it has allelopathic properties, is what that's referred to as. But here you can see this bare spot here where the lamb's quarter weeds are already sprouting. So the heavier you seed it, the more weed suppression you do get from that rye. All right, thanks for watching. This is a quick video on our cover crop system and how we use it to micrograze our cattle on it when the time is right in the fall, after I seed it, and then in the early spring. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.